In this revision lecture, we are going to discuss about coordination. When I am talking about coordination, then we have to go by different way. So first, try to understand the meaning of coordination. A simple process that when we are saying that a person is consuming food, you can check out there is coordination between your hand and your mouth. Whatever the substance is in your hand, you are taking out to your mouth accurately. It is not that it is going somewhere else. This is actually coordination. So here we have to discuss basically two coordinations, that is nervous coordination and hormonal coordination. So first we are focusing on nervous coordination. You are aware that when we are classifying this animal kingdom, in that we have a nervous system, where we have central nervous system that is consisting of brain, then spinal cord, and then peripheral nervous system is there. Like that things we have to discuss. Whereas other animals, not necessarily mammals, but other many animals, they are having comparatively undeveloped nervous system. Invertebrates, nervous system is not that developed as we are saying. Say ultimately which is developed and which is undeveloped, that we have to discuss according to our status only. So you are aware about earthworm, that means phylum Annelida, where in case of earthworm, brain as such organ is not present, but instead of that nerve ring and ganglion are present. Ganglion means say for example some swelling on nerve, that is ganglion. So that is present. In case of cockroach also, that means phylum Arthropoda, there also we are getting some similar development, and ganglions are present on nerve nerve cord at various places. Mollusca, example octopus. Each leg of octopus is having separate ganglion and can move separately. It is not actually controlled by central system. So like that things are there in different phylums. In case of vertebrata, particularly we are talking about aves, that means bird. Then also the size of brain is small. Particularly in mammals, the size of brain is more. But how to determine, suppose size is bigger or smaller? Say for example, if I am comparing size of brain of elephant and jackal, then obviously you may say that size of brain of elephant is much more bigger, massive than jackal. But here we have to take another ratio, that is brain, that means mass of brain upon mass of body. And when I am saying that bigger brain is there, that means what we have to consider, that ratio of brain mass to body mass is more. So in case of jackal and in case of elephant, we should not consider only brain mass rather than brain mass divided by body mass. This ratio is highest for human being. So our brain is well developed, and you are aware that in evolution part we discussed that thing, that cranium capacity. Cranium means brain box. In case of ape, brain, that means cranium capacity is very less, around 600 cc. Cc stands for cubic centimeter. Approximately milliliter you can consider. So just more than half liter or 600 milliliter is brain capacity in case of ape. You are aware ape means what? A monkey without tail. So gorilla, orangutan, chimpanzee, these are examples of ape. Again chimpanzee is called as new world monkey. Gorilla and orangutan are called as old world monkeys. So in ape, cranium capacity is less. But then onwards, from Ramapithecus onwards, whatever the fossils we are getting, till Cro-Magnon man, we are getting that cranial capacity increased. Highest cranium capacity is observed in Cro-Magnon man, that is fossil observed in France, and then onwards in modern man it is decreased out. But yet we have highest mass of brain to body ratio. Now in human being, developments of brain are much more than all other animals. When I am talking of other animals, means mammals, they have a first part of brain that is called as olfactory lobes. In olfactory lobe, there is sense of smell. So they have prominent one. Then onwards cerebrum, and then middle brain and hindbrain. So like that situation is there. But in case of man, these olfactory lobes, they are at front. They are already covered up by cerebral hemispheres. So there is development of cerebral hemisphere over olfactory lobes. And that's why olfactory lobes are having a duty, that is function with smell. The sense of smell is not that much developed in case of human being, but in other animals that smell, that sense is much more developed. Now here I am talking about brain. So basically brain is divided into three parts, that is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Human brain is divided into three parts as we discussed, that is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Now we are talking about forebrain first. Brain is having covering. It is having total 3 coverings and therefore 2 cavities. Say first brain, then one cover, second cover, like that. So we have here cavities. Now the outer membrane of brain, that is called as dura mater. Then inside that a fibrous connective tissue is there or membrane is there, that is called as arachnoid matter, and inside that there is pia matter. In that liquid is filled, fluid is filled, that is called as cerebrospinal fluid. Everywhere we are getting same name here, now nervous system, the name of fluid filled here, that is called as cerebrospinal fluid. Now these membranes are there to protect out brain. Liquid serves like shock absorber. Brain is already situated in a brain box. A covering is there which is totally giving covering to brain, that is called as brain box in English, but in skeletal system we discuss the name that is called as cranium, which is consisting of 8 bones. So already box is there, but it is fracture type box. Why? Because any shock is there, then that shock should be absorbed. The energy of that shock should be distributed by movement of these plates or say fractures, where we are calling that as immovable joint. Where cranium, say for example this is something zigzag, this way you can get here joint, a zigzag type joint is there. You may check out here that this is one bone, the another bone is having this type of connection, and this way a joint is there. Here muscular attachment is there. This joint is practically we are calling as immovable joint, but only when external shock is there, little bit motion is there, that is to absorb shock. But then also suppose shock survives and penetrates, then that shock is absorbed by the dura mater, then it is transmitted into liquid, arachnoid matter and pia matter. And then also suppose that shock is so strong that reach till brain, then brain is made hollow. Keep in mind, inside brain there is cavity which is filled by again a fluid that is called as cerebrospinal fluid, and that's why we are getting shock that everybody's brain is hollow, and that is also to prevent brain from shock. So the number one, we have to consider that protecting membrane of this brain, they are called as actually menings. And you are aware the infectious disease of these membranes of brain or menings, that is called as meningitis. That is also connected with here. Now, this brain or cerebrum, or say I am saying here forebrain, which is divided into two parts. We are calling them as hemisphere or simply cerebral hemisphere. Left side and right side, where the surface of brain is not smooth, it is wrinkled one. Wrinkled means what? Having folds. Many folds are observed over there. Now, prior to discussion of that, I must show you nerve cell. So here I am showing diagram of nerve cell. Usually we are saying this is some hexagonal part like this. This is some sort of hexagonal part. This is nerve cell, actual cell body, which is having nucleus and grey colored matter here. These are called as dendrons, whereas this is a long fiber going here. They are called as axons. Here I am showing this way. That means what? Axon can have long fiber, and then at organ it is reaching out. This axon is covered by a white color sheath, the made up of a material that is called as myelin. So axon, or it is covered by myelin sheets, therefore it is white in color, whereas this part is having nerve cell and it is having grey color, whereas we are getting this as dendrons. So this way you can keep in mind the names and the structure of cell. Now in case of brain, surface is wrinkled because more number of cells should get accumulated over the surface. As surface is more, the number of nerve cells are more, and that's why you can check out the surface of brain is wrinkled, and so maximum cells can be there, and that's why intelligence is more. Whereas this material, white part, is inside, and that's why if you observe brain, then we are calling grey matter. The grey matter is outside and white matter is inside. This is the situation of brain. Now, these wrinkles, they are called as gyri and sulci. These features are there. Then forebrain is again divided into a part of lobes. We are not going in detail. This is again I am saying revision lecture, so I am giving you just brief idea about this, but you can check out original video. Here after this lecture you can get link of that video. Then check out that actually in-depth discussion about brain and all diagram. So here in this revision lecture I am giving you just brief idea, and then you have to go through notes and books, and if required observe that lecture also. So here these gyri and sulci are there. Then different areas are there where right brain is controlling out emotion, basically this emotion, then sense of art and all things, that is there in the right part. Left brain is having intelligence and all other part. Actually intelligence is divided on both the brain, but there is exchange of nerve inside the brain, where the left side of brain, if dominant, then person is righty in nature. If right side of brain is dominant in nature, then person is lefty. So this way some crossing is there. then various centers are located. For example, at backside of brain there is optical center. At side part, that is temporal lobe, there is auditory, that means hearing center. Suppose I am showing that this is the brain, then this is the front side. At bottom of front side, in this way suppose I am showing, then there olfactory part is there, olfactory lobe, where we are getting sense of smell. All these things are there in cerebral hemispheres. Then onwards, a part is there that is of midbrain, that is called as hypothalamus. To the tip of hypothalamus, that means towards downside, there is important gland that is called as master gland in human body, that is called as pituitary gland. A peanut shaped gland is there, that is called as pituitary gland, which is their central part. Suppose I want to show you exact location, then this location is called as location of medulla oblongata, the last part of brain where spinal cord starts, and this is called as Christ eye or Kutastha Chaitanya, the line that is connecting out. At center of that, it is said that there is location of pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is actually serving like president in democracy. It is delivering out many essential hormones, but on guidance of hypothalamus, a part of brain that is connecting between pituitary gland and brain part. So hypothalamus is having duty or role to give orders, which is in return connecting to entire part of brain, and then this is coordinated. That's why hormonal coordination and nervous coordination are working from same place, that is pituitary gland in brain, that controls really maximum hormonal coordination. Midbrain, that is called as cerebellum. This part is having various duties. You have to find out and list out the duties. Important duty of this cerebellum is to transfer messages from spinal cord to different departments of brain. Again, the next thing, that is with reference to semicircular canals present in our ear, the coordinated with that semicircular canal, which is serving like spirit level, they are directed along X, Y and Z axis. In coordination with that, this midbrain, or that is called as cerebellum, that is giving balance sense or sense of balance. This balancing activity of body is controlled by this part. Whereas the last portion of this brain, that is called as hindbrain or medulla oblongata, various involuntary actions. So when I am talking of actions, they are either voluntary or involuntary. Some actions I have to say that they are semi-voluntary. Like respiration, we have to consider as semi-voluntary, because for a while I can hold my breath, but after that I have to carry out respiration, and therefore we have to say it is semi-voluntary. But heartbeats or blinking of our eyelids, all these things, they are actually involuntary. So certain actions in our body, they are involuntary, certain actions are voluntary. Out of that, involuntary actions are controlled by medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata is having, number one, the center of respiration, center of heartbeat. These two actions are prime actions for body, and they are controlled by medulla oblongata. Then the channelization and giving of signal to brain, like a person is having PA. PA receives call first, and only important calls are reached till the main person, other calls are filtered. So like that, activities are carried out by medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata is a delicate part of brain which is towards end part of cranium, and then onwards you are aware there is bone in skull that is called as occipital bone. There is hole, we are calling that as foramen magnum. Through that spinal cord emerges out. Medulla oblongata is so delicate, it is well protected, but suppose it is injured, then instantaneous death is there. And that's why it is said that medulla oblongata is important part of body. If it is damaged, then immediate death for that person is there. Then onwards it starts with spinal cord. Spinal cord is also very delicate. It is really important part of body and controls the entire body. The messages from brain to other part of body are delivered maximum through spinal cord. Why I am saying maximum? Because there are certain nerves. 12 pairs of nerves are there. They are called as cranial nerves. So from cranium only these nerves are having emergence. They are not connected with spinal cord. But remaining all body, that is connected with spinal cord. And that's why spinal cord is important. Spinal cord is also hollow, which is having a fluid, cerebrospinal fluid, that is connecting out from brain to entire third ventricle and spinal cord. This liquid is there, fluid is there, that is called as cerebrospinal fluid. Spinal cord is running through entire this vertebral column, which is well protected in vertebral column, and between two vertebrae the gaps are there. From that nerves are coming out. Now what is your duty? You have to first by heart we have to first go through these parts of brain. We have to find out centers, say for example auditory center, olfactory center, optic center, like that, where it is situated on brain. Then the second thing, you have to list out 12 numbers, 12 pairs of these cranial nerves and their functions, that you have to list out. Then what are the activities of cerebral hemisphere, cerebellum, then particularly connection, then medulla oblongata, the centers located on medulla oblongata, like that we have to keep in mind. Then the nerves, they are coming out from vertebrae. You have to list out that nerves and find out the list of that. Questions may be asked anywhere from that. Now, this is first part, that is called as central nervous system. Along with that, peripheral nervous system, that is also important. The nerves are running throughout the body. Certain nerves, we are calling them as neuron. They are called as motor neuron. Motor neuron is traveling out or sending out messages from brain to other part of body. So if order is given, suppose I am giving order that let my left hand should go up, and now I am taking my left hand. So this order is delivered from brain to hand. That is called as motor neuron. Whereas receptors are also there. They are called as sensory neuron. So from body to brain, the whatever messages are given, there are two receptor neurons or sensory neuron. Sometimes this activity is carried out by single neuron only. Then it is called as mixed type neuron. You are aware that certain diseases are there, for example motor neuron disease, where person receives each and everything in good condition, that means information. But he can't deliver information because his brain, whatever is going to say, that impulses are not coming out. And motor neuron is not able to deliver that. And then body is not under his control. Then we are calling this as motor neuron disease. So like that, various diseases are connected here. You have to get information about certain nervous diseases also. I am just summarizing this. Now, apart from that, I have to get another important information I have to deliver here. And I hope that if you are studying out science for 10 years, that means till 10th standard, then also you are aware of that, that is called as reflex action. Reflex action is action which is not involved brain directly in that. So actually the thing is that when any impulse is there, the speed of that impulse is carried out is something from my suppose toe, from feet to exactly say thumb to brain. The time taken to travel that is around 1 by 3 seconds. So impulse is taken from skin, the longest distance, to brain in 1 by 3 seconds. Then it will get processed and then reach at that point, that is again till 1 by 3 seconds. So you will find that 1/3 second, 1/3 second, that means 2/3 second, and plus processing time. This is the time actually is required for getting decision. But suppose my feet is there on some hot subject, hot object, then obviously this time is too much to carry out body destruction. And at that time, the decision making power is given in such emergency situation. This decision making power is given to spinal cord. But spinal cord is having only one action, that you have to take back with shock. And then immediate order is given, and that's why you may check out. Suddenly suppose you are touching your feet or any body part to silencer of bike, old bike. Immediately you are taking out leg fast away from that silencer. Silencer is usually having very high temperature. Immediately you are taking back, because this is called as reflex action. Even a pin, you are tapped with pin, then also the same thing is observed. Immediately you are getting feeling of shock and you are taking your hand or leg away from that. So this is called as actually reflex action. In case of reflex action, the action which is controlled directly not by brain but by spinal cord to save that body from that situation, it is called as reflex action. We are talking of now peripheral or autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is part of peripheral nervous system only. It consists of sympathetic system and parasympathetic system. Many activities are controlled by this sympathetic and parasympathetic system, which is not in our control. Say for example, my duty is to consume food. Once food is swallowed, then onwards, whatever happening in entire alimentary canal is beyond my control. Say, I am not giving order that let gastric juice should be there or pancreatic juice should be released and all that. So these activities are controlled by nervous system, that is called as autonomic nervous system, where two nervous systems, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems are there, and they are having action counter to each other. For example, the physiological activities they control, that is secretion of glands in alimentary tract, then contraction of involuntary muscles. Say always muscles are not voluntary. Say for example heart, involuntary muscles. Then whatever the stomach, the activities are there in stomach, that is grinding and mixing, that is also muscular activities which is not controlled by ourselves, so they are involuntary muscles. Then the rate and force of heartbeat. So all these activities are controlled by this autonomic nervous system. Now, particularly nervous system is controlled by two ions, that is potassium and sodium ion. You are aware that when we are feeling tired, especially in summer season, because of sweating or over sweating, we are having this tiredness, and then by consuming salt we are getting freshness. The reason is that when over sweating is there, the more amount of sodium ions are thrown away of body, and so for nervous system to maintain and function properly, sodium ions as well as potassium ions, they are required. Now usually it is said that in human body the ratio of sodium to potassium ion is 10:10. So you may say, why 10:10? It should be 1:1. No, I am just giving simple way that it is 10:10. Whereas in case of vegetables, the ratio is sodium to potassium is 1:10. I am writing here, say, in human body, ratio of sodium to potassium is 10:10. So here we are having clear idea, it is 1:1 only, but in order to give next thing, in case of vegetables, this ratio is 1:10. So when we are consuming fresh vegetables, fruits, all these things, they are getting 10 amount of potassium ion, whereas for that purpose 1 ion of sodium. So the more you are consuming, more potassium ions will be there in body, but sodium ions will not be that way. But you are aware in body there is process of osmoregulation. In that osmoregulation, excess potassium ion may throw out, but sodium ions are not thrown out because it is required by body. But suppose you are consuming salt, then obviously you are also enriching out body by sodium ion, and that's why we are having feeling and habit. The second important thing, that is habit, that we have to eat fruits or vegetables or whatever food by adding pinch of salt. Why we are adding the salt here? That is the reason actually that in our body the ratio is maintained as 10:10, whereas 9 ions are deficient. So by adding that, we are getting actually same ratio, that is 10:10 ratio. Now here the important thing I have discussed, that is the nervous system. Little bit we discuss about brain, not in detail, but for detail you have to observe our main lecture. There we are getting that all details. So here, as our regular technique, I am going to ask you 5 questions. They will be appear on screen. You have to pause this video, observe this screen, take out that, solve out that question, and then observe analysis immediately after that. So first, the white color sheet from axon. Say this is nervous system, neuron, where this is axon. On that white color sheet is there, that is made up of dash dash. So that sheet is made up of substance that is called as myelin. So if you are writing out answer myelin, then it is right. The fibrous membranous part that is present between dura mater and pia mater is called as dash dash. Its name is arachnoid matter. So if you are writing out arachnoid matter, then it's right. We reveal the sense of smell in dash dash part of brain. This is actually forebrain. So if you are writing out, it is also right. But more precise answer is olfactory lobes. So if you are writing out olfactory lobes, then you are more accurate. The region between middle part of brain and spinal cord, that is called as hind brain, or another name I discuss here in lecture, that is called as medulla oblongata. So either medulla oblongata or hind brain, both answers are right. Pituitary gland is attached to dash dash part of brain. Here the accurate answer is hypothalamus. So if you are writing out hypothalamus, then it is right answer. So check out, as usual, your score should be more than 3 or more than 3, then it's alright. Otherwise revise this lecture. My request is there that when we are studying out this biology, you have to go in detail also. So this is just revision lecture, but I am providing here actually this lecture also. So please click this link and observe this actual lecture also.